homeless. Says she's on the street and doesn't have a home to go to. She is homeless because her mother left when she was young, and she was abused by her stepfather, so she was taken into care, and then she ran away from there as well. She is 19, and she has been on the streets for more than 6 months now. The reason she is homeless is because her boyfriend threw her out of the house and is now living with another girl who has 2 children and is 3 years older than her. She says the kids were really nice and she liked them, but they didn't want her to live there anymore because she would get in fights with their mom and she couldn't cook for them. She said her boyfriend was nice at first and he was just mad that he couldn't see her because he didn't have anywhere to live. He is unemployed and he used to work on building sites. He had a lot of girlfriends and never brought anyone home. Now he has 2 kids and he wants her to take care of them, but she has no money and she is struggling. She has no home, no job, and no friends. She is sleeping on the streets because she can't afford a place to stay or to get anything to eat, even though she does get free meals from the local church and a local charity. She said she was living with her grandma for a while, but it wasn't safe. There was an old man who lived next door, and she would hear him going out in the middle of the night to do things. And she thought he was going to hurt her and her grandmother. She then went to stay with her aunt, but that didn't last very long either. Her aunt's started beating on her and threatening her, so she had to leave again. Her boyfriend has been angry at her a lot of times, and he has thrown things at her when he gets drunk, but he's always apologized afterwards and said sorry. He'll start arguments just for fun. He'll tell her he wants her to move in with him so that he can be with her all the time, and he'll say she needs to get a job and earn some money for herself. When she doesn't do what he says, he gets angry with her and won't speak to her. He doesn't like her friends, and he doesn't want her to hang around with them. She said sometimes people look down on her because of where she's come from and how she looks, but she doesn't care because it's better than being with her ex-boyfriend who treated her like dirt, and he was also a bad person. She was kicked out of school for fighting and truancy, and she said she's always in trouble at home, too. She has got a few scrapes with the police, and she has been put in care homes when she's been younger. She hasn't had a drink for ages because it made her sick, but she used to smoke, but not anymore. Her grandmother used to say that she was trouble, and she shouldn't have been born, but she says that's not true because she has a lot of friends, and she has her own personality, and she likes herself, and she doesn't let people make her feel bad. She told me about her boyfriend. She said that she can't stop thinking about him, and that he's always on her mind. He was a really nice guy when they started dating, but that changed after a while. He got really possessive and would tell her he loved her every day. Then he started beating on her when he got drunk, and he pushed her and held her down and choked her until she couldn't breathe. She said that he had always been angry and jealous of her, and it got worse after he got together with his new girlfriend. He would punch her in the face when they argued. When I asked her why he was angry with her, she told me it was because she didn't love him enough, and that she'd been unfaithful to him. And that was why they'd broken up. She told me that she's been seeing someone else now, and that's why he's angry with her. She didn't think she loved him either, but he kept pressuring her, saying that they would have a good life together. She said he would often hit her for no reason at all. It wasn't because he was drunk or anything. Sometimes he would do it if she'd said something wrong. She's broken a couple of bones over the last year, and it's all because of him. She told me about her stepdad, and how he used to hit her as well. He would get very angry with her and would say that she was worthless and should die. He would also call her stupid, but never to her face. Her mother used to try and make excuses for him. I asked her what happened when her mother left. She said that the house was falling apart, and it was all because of the stepdad, because he didn't do anything. The kitchen ceiling fell in one day and covered the bed in plaster, so she had to sleep in the living room for a while. He didn't like it because the room was messy, and it used to drive him mad because he had to clean it every day. He was always angry with her too, and would shout at her. He used to hit her when she wouldn't stop crying or arguing with him. Her stepdad would come into the room late at night and wake her up. Sometimes he would sit on the bed beside her while she slept and rub his fingers against her arm. He'd hold her hand in his hand and kiss it, and he would say she was beautiful. He would stroke her face with his other hand, and he would ask if he could take her out. One night when she was 14 years old, she woke up to find him touching her. He was kissing her neck, and he was touching her breasts under the blanket. She didn't know what to do. She didn't know why he had woken up or why he was touching her, but she felt uncomfortable and scared, so she tried to push him off her, but he wouldn't move away from her. She told him to stop, but he just laughed at her and told her that she was beautiful. She started crying because it felt like he was going to rape her, so she got up and ran outside into the garden. She went running down the street with tears streaming down her face until she met up with some of her friends. They went back home, but he wasn't there. So they called the police, but they didn't turn up. She stayed at a friend's house for a few days, but then they found out what had happened, and they reported the incident to the social services, who then took her into care. Her stepdad used to follow her around everywhere when she went home, and he would always try and talk to her and be nice, but she would never speak to him. She says it made her feel sick inside. She said she was relieved when she found out that he had killed himself a few months later. She said that she's not like other girls at school. She's smart, but most of the kids think she's weird because of how she looks. She's got no family or friends left, so she's kind of like an island in the sea of people. She said that nobody understands how it feels to be alone on a night out or to have no friends or family. She said that most people have got parents who love them and care for them. They have someone who will listen to them when they are upset and tell them that it will be all right. They have a home where they feel safe and secure. But not her. She said that when she feels bad about things, she cries sometimes because there's no one there to comfort her. She cries because of everything that's happened to her in life so far. When she is not on the streets, she is in care homes or living in shelters with people who don't like her. She has always had a hard life. She said that things were easier when she was with her grandmother, but they didn't get on very well. She thought that if her mother had still been alive, things might have been different. Sometimes when she thinks about what could have been, it makes her angry that things turned out like this for herself, so that now she has to live in this horrible world with nowhere to go and nothing to eat. She told me that there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the world that people don't know about or don't want to know about because it might make them feel guilty or upset. She told me that all of these people out there who have never experienced hardship in their lives don't understand how it feels. She told me that it's hard being homeless. It makes you feel vulnerable and helpless, like you can't rely on anyone or anywhere. Sometimes when she's alone, she doesn't want to be alive anymore. But when someone is nice to her, she can feel herself again because it reminds her that there is still some kindness left in the world. She said that she thinks everyone is kind in their own way, but they don't show it because they are scared of being hurt themselves, or they are afraid of how people will look at them or judge them for showing kindness towards someone else. I told her that it's true that most people aren't kind or thoughtful towards each other, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't try to be more open and understanding with one another. I said that she was brave to come and share her story with me. When I asked her what I could do to help, she told me that there are a lot of homeless people out there who need a lot more than just food, but also somewhere warm and comfortable to stay for a while and somewhere to sleep where they feel safe and secure. She said that they don't have anyone they can talk to or share a meal with, so that they can get through the day without worrying about where they are going to get their next meal from or where they are going to spend the night. I asked her if she would like me to help them, and I asked if she would be willing to tell me where they are so that we can find out where they are sleeping at night and where they might be spending the day, and maybe I could offer them some food as well. She said that would be wonderful, and that I was so sweet for thinking of helping them like that. She asked me what I thought of her boyfriend now, and I told her that I wasn't sure what to think, but that I didn't like the way he had treated her over the years. She told me that she thinks it will take time for him to forgive her if she ever decides to start seeing someone else, but that he would never try and hurt her again. She said he would probably threaten her and tell her he would kill himself if she left him, but that he wouldn't do anything he didn't mean. He would never really hurt anyone, especially not someone who cared about him so much. I asked her if she had any advice for me about boys and relationships, and she said that you just have to be yourself and be careful about who you choose to trust and who you choose to believe in.